Your Harrogate's Wellness Wednesday with O'Connor Chiropractic, optimising the health potential of every family through chiropractic care.
Welcome to another Wellness Wednesday on Your Harrogate Radio. Dr. Jason is here from O'Connor Chiropractic, the Family Wellness Centre on Station Parade in Harrogate. We all face stresses and strains of modern day life, Jason, and it's all relevant to the individual. You've spoken in previous weeks about fight or flight. Just let's delve a little bit deeper as to how chiropractic helps somebody shift out of that fight or flight status.
Yeah, well, the nervous system is always there to protect you with what we call innate intelligence. So if it's in a state of stress, it's doing it on purpose and it feels threatened. And I always say with stress, there's three types of stress. So in chiropractic, we say the three T's: traumas, so physical stress; toxins, so chemical stress; and thoughts or emotional stress. And I think we're living in a society where things have shifted a little bit, where I'd say we're getting a lot more of the emotional stress, whether that's social media, peer pressure. Certainly we can see it in the children a lot more, in quite devastating effects there. And I think coming back to why are we under stress, what are we doing in our environment, and rather than thinking, how do I get rid of it? So the stress, when the body is trying to protect you, it will fatigue because it's using a lot of energy, and then you get the symptoms. So we're almost looking at the wrong way around. We're going, okay, how do I then treat those symptoms? Whereas we need to say, well, why is the body in this adaptive stress state in the first place? And how do we address that? So certainly chiropractic care, with the way it works in terms of correcting the spinal alignment, reducing stress from the nervous system, it helps the body adapt to that. So whatever stress we're dealing with, whether it's physical, emotional, chemical, it's your central nervous system that has to adapt to that. So the better function your central nervous system, the better you're going to adapt. So that's what we find when people come in for care, like, I've been really struggling, I can't wait for my adjustment, because they know when they get adjusted, they just deal with life better. Whether that's their work stress, their home stress, financial stress, they can cope a lot better when their nervous system is on point, when we're removing those subluxations, when we've got it firing correctly, and it helps it shift it more back to the parasympathetic, which is what we want. However, if you're still going back into that stressful environment, it's only going to do one thing. It's going to shift back to that fight or flight. So that's why we've got to say, well, what are we doing? We can't just keep banging our head against the wall and getting a headache and expecting anything different. So we need to look at, well, what do we need to change? And I think, especially with our children, educating them on the importance of limiting screen time and social media. It's a difficult conversation. I've got a 13-year-old and, you can imagine all his socialising is based around that. So it is a constant battle. But for me, it's so important. I said previously, the two biggest reasons why people take time off work is back pain and stress. So I think using laptops, computers, phones, that pretty much causes both of them, and it's the most common cause of it. So just educating people, talking about alignment, posture, limiting that impact, and also helping the nervous system restore back to its natural state is really key to what we do.
Do you feel that as a society on the whole, we're getting better at recognising those stressful situations and how to mitigate them?
I think there's more information out there about it. However, I think there's more information about everything. I think we've got information overload, and I think that's part of the problem. It's because you hear so much stuff. What do you really believe, and what do we rely on? And I think that's a problem now. There's so much, again, social media is putting so much information on there, and a lot of this fake news and the AI, it's really quite scary because, like you say, what do you believe in? And I think sometimes people think it's too much, and then they just give up. So I think that's finding something that resonates with you, finding the right person, getting some help, and understanding it is a big issue and it's only going to get bigger. And I think, there are good coping strategies out there, but there's also a lot of advice which I don't think is great. And I think the biggest thing you can do is limit that time, that access, especially for our children, to technology and certainly social media.
And you mentioned the devices as well, and people obviously spending far too much time working away in front of a screen, whether that be phone, tablet, laptop. Something that I've heard you mention before, tech neck. For anybody who doesn't know what tech neck is and how, again, chiropractic care can help, just explain a little bit more.
Yeah, it's to do with the position of the cervical spine. We should have a natural C curve in there. And the really scary, shocking thing I've found is I've been in practice coming up to nearly 25 years. I didn't see this when I first came out. I would see children for different reasons, sports accidents, birth traumas we've talked about before. But what I'm seeing now is children with chronic postural issues. So they're getting rounded shoulders, they're getting reverse C curves in the neck. We've taken x-rays and we've seen signs of osteoarthritis in 10-year-olds because they've literally before they've been able to speak, they've got a tablet in front of them. And it is quite scary because I think if their spine's looking like that, 10, 12, what's it going to be like in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time? And, their quality of life and the burden they're going to have on society as well, because we've got to look at that, because their ability to function, to contribute to work is going to be less. So I think it's really going to become epidemic a few years down the line, because we grew up, like, computer games took about an hour to load and you got bored and you went out and played football because you couldn't be bothered to wait. Whereas now, like you say, they've got instant access to that. And as I just wasn't seeing this 20 years ago, but like now, and I think it's linked in with anxiety. I'm seeing a lot more younger people with severe anxiety. They can't speak. They really won't talk. They're really quite insular because of it, because they're not interacting with people. They're just looking at a screen. So then when I'm speaking to them, I really notice in a lot of children now, they struggle to communicate. Much higher levels of anxiety, self-harming, which is really sad. I'm seeing young people coming in with cuts and scars, and you just didn't see that 20 years ago. So I do think we've really got to control this, get on top of it with the schools. Healthcare professionals like myself need to be more aware and trained in those areas, and how we can help not just the young people, but I think it's the parents, because the parents don't really know what to do and how to control it, because it's really addictive, and they've shown how it lights up parts of the brain, same as sugar and drugs. And now these kids, you try and take that off them, you've got a real battle on your hands. And sometimes that battle can be too hard to face, and it's easy to almost think, I'll deal with it later. But I always say, short term that might be easier, but long term we've got a much bigger problem.
So once again, if what Jason says resonates with you and you want to explore chiropractic care for either yourself or somebody in the family, or for all of you, then you can simply get in touch with O'Connor Chiropractic, the Family Wellness Centre on Station Parade, via their website.
Your Harrogate's Wellness Wednesday with O'Connor Chiropractic. Book your initial consultation now at o'connorchiro.co.uk.